There we go. Okay, I think that's happened. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. This is the Weston Board of Education Financial Facilities and Operation Committee meeting. First item on the agenda is an update on facility and grounds. Mike?
Yep. How you doing, everybody? All right. So,
Good.
quick update. After months of interviews, reading resumes and applications for the two grounds positions, we finally will be fully staffed, most likely middle of next week. Last gentleman, we're just waiting for the fingerprint appointment and background check. We had quite a few people come in to work for a day, and weren't happy with their abilities, I guess we'll say. So, starting next week, we'll be fully staffed. We had one departure, Pedro Pachenko. He has left as of, I want to say it was about three weeks ago or so. Could be wrong on that. So we'll be fully staffed next week. One thing with grounds, we've taken over the fields, as you guys know. They have really never looked as good as they have right now. They look great. I wish we had done this sooner. We have people that we can hold accountable and actually take pride in these fields. One of our hires was Jose Garan. He's had 10 years of field experience. So not just baseball or softball. He knows tennis courts really well. He knows AstroTurf well with the football, with the soccer, the lacrosse. So we have an asset in him. He works on his own pretty much every day and makes sure our fields are in tip-top shape.
Mike, can I ask a question?
Sure.
And I'm not sure if you were with us back when we were. I mean, I know you were with us, but not in your current role.
Mhm.
When we took on when we were doing the fields ourselves,
Yeah.
and we had some problems that
Mhm.
caused us to go the route of hiring the company.
Yes.
And now that we're going back in house, I think that's great, especially if it's working out well, it's cost effective. But what are we doing differently this time around?
Differently, Phil and I are constantly all over the fields. I mean, we're everywhere. We see what's going on. And our guys are taking ownership. Just by the visual, you can see what's happening. So for the most part, it's just really being around and not letting the crew run the fields and us getting blindsided. We're constantly on them, at least a couple days a week, if not more. So that's pretty much the steps that we're taking. I have bi-weekly meetings with the director of athletics. So, I mean, we have constant communication, coaches. We have constant communication, Dawn with Mark. So there's a lot more interaction as opposed to the way it had run before, which was just you're in charge of the fields, you take care of them, and we'll deal with it when we have a problem. So we're present.
Okay, sounds good.
And how do you go about finding the individuals that you've engaged?
We just put we put the ad out there for the position that we're looking for. And this one, what we had
It's
done
on
is
social media, or
no, it's more Indeed. It's our site. We put the word out there. Our grounds crew, our maintenance crew, they'll talk to people that are interested in making a move into this kind of sector. And it was definitely trying. It was trying. We definitely have a home run in Jose, and we believe we have a home run in the next gentleman coming in, which is Kevin. He worked on a golf course for about 30 years, whether it was the operations or actually working on the courses themselves. So it was a tough position to fill. It was months of trying, and I believe we have actually, I'm confident we have the right crew in place at this point.
great,
But
great. And
yeah,
that was just a generic question.
yeah, no social media that I know of. We don't advertise there.
Okay, that's great. Peter, Melissa, anything else? Mike, anything else?
Sure. This week, we finally made the transition out of heat. So we finally get the boilers off. Hopefully they can stay off. It's been just like last fall was, on off, on off. Hopefully we didn't do too much damage. to some of our boiler systems. It doesn't like to start up and start and shut down. All chillers are running at this point. Air conditioning is running. Everything is running as expected. We did the preventive maintenance last year as on the shutdown, so everything is running status quo. Hopefully, we can keep the boilers off, save some of that fuel anyway, and give them a rest, because it's been pretty much since October last year. They've been either on or off, or a combination of the both. Facilities, we're gearing up for summer, getting ready for our projects, whether that's an in-house project with custodians, painting, what have you, maintenance crew doing their projects, as well as capital. We have a lot of capital projects going on. We have some remaining from last year that'll be pulling into the summer, as well as a couple that we have slated for this capital year. We should be ready to pull, get our equipment ordered, which would be hopefully within the next week or so, waiting for one more contractor to come in with some numbers for us. So that should be ordered relatively, certainly by the end of this month. And one exciting piece of news that we do have is our electric vehicle charging station is operational. It got installed early for us. We went in on our April break. So that is up and running. It's already been used by a couple staff members. So that's a plus. And we are looking into other locations to see if we can pull it off. Our campus isn't really set up for this for whatever reason, just distance from panels and where our parking lots are across from School Road. So it does have some distance, but we are in the process of getting one into the lower schools, K-5.
That's great news. Thanks, Mike.
No, you're welcome. And that's all I have for you guys, unless you have any questions.
Yeah, well, maybe for you and Phil both. And the update on the paving, sorry, the paving project, what's the timing on that?
The paving project, as in the paving of the front of the high school?
Yeah, I guess have we engaged the consultant, Phil? And
yeah, we have engaged the consultant with to do the stuff. We got back some work, some of his analysis and stuff like that. So I think we're still moving forward with the high school, and we will use the analysis that they've done to guide our decisions for the upcoming years.
Weren't we going to have them look at that? Oh, sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just wondering about the cutout part of the intermediate school that Peter rose a few meetings ago. Did they look at that?
I have to double check the thing, but I do not think they did. We may have to follow up on that.
Yeah,
piece.
I thought we were going to have them do that just because it's such an inefficient part of the way that loop is working when we're doing the card pickups. And I know I see you out there, Phil, so I know you know the area I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We'll have them take a look at that, and I really need to double check where the sidewalk is going to go. I can never remember if the sidewalk is going to come up on West or if it's going to go.
Yeah, it does need to be looked at with the sidewalk, because what happens is the kids, they have Stu there when they come out of the intermediate school and cross into that first parking lot. But then for those that are walking over towards the admin fields or just, home or, with friends, they then have to cross the entire pickup line because of that strange bump out.
That's right. Let's follow up with them to see what their recommendation is. But we may have to engage another company to kind of give us another recommendation with this, because this company, Beta Group, may not be the company to kind of guide us. So let me bring that one back up on the radar, and we'll follow up.
Yeah, I don't know that it's nothing that needs to be done. Well, I'll defer to their judgment on when it needs to be done, but I would think if we were going to invest in any repaving over by the intermediate school, we'd want to take into consideration
Correct.
the traffic issue there.
Right, and again, so so that's good. So then we have some time, because right now the focus is going to be on the high school.
Yeah.
So as we plan for future projects, we'll definitely incorporate.
Yeah, I thought it was more of a, while they were here and they were at the high school, just have them take a look and give their thoughts kind of thing, was where we had left it. But
we'll follow up.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
So what is the timing for the high school paving?
That'll be the summer. Depending on what we have
This
going
summer.
on, it'll be, yeah, this summer. Yeah, absolutely this summer. They've guaranteed pricing from last year. I made a phone call to see if there's going to be any decrease in the charge because oil prices have dropped a little bit, not significantly, but they've dropped a little bit, even though we are a year later with the project than we were from last year. And I had spoken with them about this corner, so they are aware of it. So as we get closer and we have a little bit firmer plans from the sidewalk and we know how they're gonna terminate at that location, we'll get some pricing from them and see how we can't move forward with that corner.
This is American Paving, the same ones that have been doing the town.
This is American Paving, that's correct.
Right. Anything else, Mike? Or
That's all I have for you guys.
great. Well, thank you. Phil, the next item is the monthly financial update through April.
So, as in addition to everyone getting excited that we're approaching the end of the school year, for us, things going to start to ramp up. I just want to point out that between now and truly when we close the books, we will definitely see some variation and fluctuation in what our anticipated surplus will be. Again, as we close payout, as we close out existing encumbrances, make reductions, or if we do have any unforeseen expenditures that may have an impact to what the final number will be. But for right now, we're looking at a current surplus of $366,000. That's made up, of course, of several different items, several different changes. We have some savings in salary. We do continue to have some turnover or just release of encumbrances for anticipated goal for salaries. We have money that we're releasing for SPED PPS. As you know, we were anticipating hiring 2 additional staff members. I do believe that we will not be able to hire that 3rd until the start of the new school year. So we'll release some money there. We have turnover.
No worries, I was just testing.
And we did mention at Lisa's update last month, she did mention that we have a resignation for a behavior analyst. So we have some turnover there. Also, we are releasing monies that we have on hold for administrative support. SPED's PPS director support staff is still not hired as yet. And we had some money that we were holding for the finance department because we made some changes here, so releasing funds there. We do have turnover and FML as well. So we have a net turnover savings of approximately $210,000. And we're going to offset that by the $88,000 increase in sub cost for the remainder of the year. That will give us to a net of approximately $121,000. Last month.
But that's in the 366.
That's included, correct. So everything here is just pretty much the makeup of that 366.
Okay.
The major change here is with benefits. When we met last, we proposed paying for retirees' cost from our current surplus. We did have a conversation with the Board of Finance during budget deliberation, and the consensus is not to do that, but to continue to allow the trust fund to pay for the retiree costs and just to continue with that cadence. So that's $320,000. We have some increases in professional services, increases for SPED. As I mentioned before, we have lost our BCBA, so we are relying more so on external services to cover that shortfall. And we spoke about it a month or 2 earlier as well. We're seeing that we have to increase the legal fees. We have increased that for the remainder of the year by about $49,000 or so. We pretty much spent all the money for the district-wide encumbrance, our cost, plus that cost for legal fees. And again, just to account for that, we have unanticipated money in FOIA, we're seeing we had I guess greater than expected in costs for bargaining negotiations, and we have increases in teacher issues and just general related staff issues, among other concerns. Property services, as Mike mentioned, we have transitioned to in-house services. So we are releasing $34,000 from the contracted services line. Other services, we have had to, we have new students that were placed out. So we're seeing an increased cost for out-of-district transportation, increased costs for out-of-district tuition, and a slight increase in settlement costs. We're also seeing an increased cost for the remainder of the year for our third-party provider for athletic transportation. So all in for other services, we have an increase of approximately $175,000. We have a slight increase in equipment and a slight increase in revenue offset. So pretty much those are pretty much the makeup of the 366,000 or 322 month-over-month change. Month-over-month change.
I'm sorry, so is it 366 or 322?
The month-over-month change is 322,000, and the current surplus is 366.
Yeah. Okay.
Our dental claims are trending as expected, but slightly below budget. So we do anticipate that we will not be spending the full amount for dental claims. As you know, the general fund will be paying for that cost this year. So we may have some savings there. So again, you know, the surplus number is really will change. And as we get closer to the year end, we'll give another update in June, and then we'll give the final account when we do meet in late August or September.
Okay.
Bill, do we have any update on, you know, the insurance plan change? Any movement there?
Yep. Yeah, so that's
Am
also
I
on the
ahead?
agenda items.
I don't mean to jump ahead if you were going to cover that later.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, that's fine. I just
Yep.
was,
So that is the financial update for the month.
Okay.
The next item that we have up is health insurance.
Ah,
So so we did make a decision, as you maybe not everyone knows, but we met Brown and Brown administration and union representative met with 3 finalists. We met with United Healthcare, Connecticut, and with Cigna. You know, there was a lot of discussion with the unions. I think it was important for us to include the union in this discussion because they were very supportive in making the change to the state from the state partnership plan, and we do wanted to ensure that that whoever it is that was selected satisfied their requirements or their needs. So after the questions, the Q&A for the finalists, and some post follow-up discussions, we have decided to go with Cigna. So Cigna will be our new health and care provider for July 23. I think overall,
just remind me, I don't have my notes in front of me. I attended all those meetings. Was Cigna the group that went third? No, second.
I don't remember the order, but Cigna may have been the group that went third. Second or third.
I think Connecticut's went last. I was just trying
So
to
that
think.
mean it was Cigna. I think we went United.
United went first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
So I think in talking with Brown and Brown, they think that's in terms of customer support, that Cigna is very strong, and
Right.
in terms of the overall match with current providers, Cigna pretty much was the leader where that was concerned.
Good. That's
In
important.
addition to that, Cigna did provide us with a rate cap for next year, so we have a 9.99% rate cap for next year, and Cigna was the strongest in terms of transition care. So this is for any providers or any provider or any doctors who are not in network. Cigna would continue to provide them at an in-network cost. So we did send communication out to the broader group, to all employees today. We will be having some updates from Cigna and also with our HSA funded provider, well, not funded provider, but the company that will be using for HSA services later this month. Later this month will also be the time when we will begin open enrollment. Any questions?
Will they be able to get the their insurance cards, or at least preliminary insurance cards, to the employees before the start of the summer?
Yep, absolutely.
Right.
So the plan is that everything on Cigna's and in terms of getting our current census over to Cigna should happen. We have a target date of June 13th. We're hoping to have that done before. So as
Great.
soon as they have the census and it's been loaded into their system, they do plan on having those cards can be issued 3 days after it's final. So we're looking about getting the cards out in mid June. Any other questions on health insurance?
Nope.
Okay, moving on.
Could someone read the next item somehow? Yeah, because I just lost the agenda. But anyway, go ahead.
That's okay. The next item up is a review of pre-K tuition rates for fiscal 24. So as we've done in previous years, we have pegged the increase for pre-K tuition to the budget increase. So as you know, our budget increase was 2.76%, and that will bring in the cost for pre-K for students who are not eligible for services at $7,315. And our rates, our tuition is more is in line with our neighboring districts. We have included some tuition in comparison for the group. For example, Wilton is at $7,500, Darien is at $7,600, Easton is at $6,300, and Westport, who is the outlier, Westport is currently at $11,000. Any question on tuition rates, pre-K tuition rate?
Why is Westport so
No.
high?
Not quite sure as to why they're that high. I know anecdotally that they've just had an increase in the number of students that's there, and they probably have additional costs associated with that, but no firm reason as to why they're as high as they are. Historically, they have been a little bit higher in the past, but I think this difference.
That's a big difference now. Though.
Correct. Yes,
Big difference.
but we don't have a firm reason as to why they're as high as they are. But again, in terms of our other neighboring districts, we're pretty much on par.
Okay.
Okay.
Next item up is review of tuition, fiscal 24 tuition for non-resident tuition. This is also pegged to the budget increase. So we have the various pricing here, and that will be 2.76 for all grade levels. And as you know, we do give a discount to staff, and that is also reflected here.
Sorry.
Bless you. Rental rates. Our rental rates. These rates, we are pegging these rates to the CPI as of March. Those were the most recent numbers that we had. So we are increasing our rental rates for all the groups who are eligible to be charged, a 5.6% increase year over year. And that is it for our monthly updates.
Okay. As I said, somehow my agenda just went away. Melissa, do you have the agenda in front of you?
That's the next item. Item
I
7.
do. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Melissa.
No, I was just going to say I can get the agenda. I have it in another.
No, I have it. The
Okay.
final
Okay.
item on the agenda is approval of minutes for March.
Yeah. Are there any changes to the minutes?
No, I don't have any changes to the minutes.
Okay. Peter?
No, I'm good with the minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve then?
I move that we approve the minutes from our April meeting, the Finance Subcommittee.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
None opposed. So that's the agenda, I guess. And I don't know, Melissa, you tell me whether or not we should talk. Go ahead, Phil.
Oh, we just have other business as the final item.
Yeah, it's what I
Right.
was gonna. Yeah, no. Is there? Do you have other business, or can I?
I do not have other business.
Do you want to bring
So
up
the
other
only-
business?
I do. I want to bring up for discussion. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do. Whether or not we should add an additional responsibility to this committee of safety. And so whether we want to add that as an additional responsibility of the Finance and Facilities Committee. And I don't
Well,
know
it's-
if we do, I don't, go ahead, Phil.
I was going to say it's really finance and operations. So I think we can include that as part of operation, or do we want to carve that out as something separate?
I guess the question is,
Well,
do
I
you want it to
don't
be
know.
a subcommittee
The
or a
question-
committee?
Well, that's the question. Are we creating a subcommittee, or do we want to encompass it in this group? If we create a subcommittee, is it a subcommittee of this group or a new subcommittee of the board?
Do you want to keep it just board members? Is that what you're thinking, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. That, board members, and then the requisite individuals from the administration.
Right.
So I guess the question at hand is, one, do we want to create some form of a safety committee, be it a subcommittee or just included in this? That's one, or two. And then three, should we have this as a overall board discussion about the creation of a new responsibility, assuming we want to do that, of a particular committee?
My only thought is, we're limiting it to the three of us if we keep it here, and I think it logically should reside here. I mean, this is facilities and finance committee. This is where it makes sense to be a subcommittee of our committee. But we're limiting ourselves to just the three of us, and potentially there could be another board member who would want to serve on this committee. So, if we're forming it for next year, we always rework the committee assignments in November, when the elections happen, and how we want to staff all of our committees. So maybe it would be a good time then to mention, if we're going to keep it within this committee, to mention it then. That way you'll receive interest from all of the board members in terms of wanting to serve on this committee.
Okay, no, that's it. Peter?
Yeah, I think if it's infrastructure or buildings, it's certainly facilities, if there's a discussion. So that falls well within our purview. And I think that's good. And if it falls in personnel or HR, that also falls within the purview because it's operations.
Exactly.
So I think we cover it. I think, I don't know if there needs to be a carve out for a separate committee. There certainly needs to be discussions as we move forward. Safety can encompass a lot of things, as we found out, but it could have just encompassed something wrong with the playground, right? That's a safety issue.
Right.
Facilities. And I know the pole at the West Middle School broke the other day. So that needs some repair. That's a safety issue, right? So I think we're good if we.
No,
focus
that's Mike's issue.
Yeah. So Mike, there's a pole broken. I think the green pole broke or something at WIS, and a kid fell off or something at recess.
They have one of those pedestal platforms, about 18-inch diameter. The plastic broke, so we actually took the cap off and we removed that, and we have parts on order. So Patty called me immediately.
Okay. There we go. We're on top of that. Take that off the list.
So that our
That's
first
good
action
suggestion.
of safety is a success, right? Call it a
There
good
we
day.
go. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, we can either
Well,
leave it
that's
as
a
a,
good
a standing item on this committee's agenda, or we can make,
Well, why don't we leave it as a standing item as need be going forward? And to your point about November, it's a good point. We'll just work as this group through that period of time, and then we'll see where it goes past that.
I think that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good suggestion. Other items?
I have an item.
Great.
I don't know if because we're making the agenda for Monday, right? So robotics seems to be the hottest thing going right now because the kids made it to nationals, and I heard actually I heard at a birthday party from 4 or 5 adults that the 6th graders won't be able to participate because there's not enough resources nor staff. So that's sort of an HR issue and a facilities issue, right, or space. So I don't know how we sort of look at that. I don't know if it makes sense. Or just have it as a Monday, or who would take the lead, because it's these were concerned parents. They want my child to participate, yet I heard this, so that needs to be nipped in the bud, right? So I wanted to bring it up as the discussion point on Monday. Is this the proper protocol? I don't want it to be overlooked. So Phil, maybe? Is that
I'm trying to. I don't know if it's more so of a curriculum concern that we have. I don't think it's on the facility side where the concern is, or necessarily staff end. So maybe I don't know where we should start. Maybe at curriculum. Because curriculum.
okay?
'Cause
I had
again,
to start somewhere, right? Because if it's
yeah.
there's not enough robots and there's not enough space, that's a facility thing.
And another thing as well, the person, if I'm thinking correctly, right now, the person who's doing it is at the middle school. And I'm not quite sure what that capacity is if we bring it down to the lower grades, or
This would be for 6th graders next year.
the 6th. Yeah, but that program is at the middle school.
Right. The parents are parents are rising to be 6th graders, and they had concern to me. There's not a team.
And okay, let's maybe have a conversation with Lisa about this, because maybe there's some more information that needs to be had. So maybe we can just have an offline conversation with Lisa. Peter.
That's great. She's not here today, so I know.
Yeah, she's actually she's not up in interviews today.
Right. All right. I think we should look at this sooner or later because we don't want to be on the air for a call. Thank you. That was just my input for the afternoon.
Melissa, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Should I have a motion to adjourn?
Sure. I'll move that we adjourn our meeting.
I second.
Peter, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
See everybody here tomorrow night.
See you guys.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.